family, hi friends, hi food lovers, hey neighbors, hey community, hey comics, people who like to cook, connect, and kvetch. Thanks so much for joining me for Hot Dish. Hello and welcome to Hot Dish. I'm your host, Lauren Huberman, and I'm here with you today with Samson Koletkar. Hi, Samson.
Hey Lauren, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. So, okay, Samson is the world's only Indian Jewish stand up comedian. And Samson is also one of the 10 best Indian origin comedians of the last decade featured on Book My Shows, which is an Indian booking website. And he's in good company also with Aziz Ansari and Mindy Kaling, which is awesome. Good on you, Samson.
I was like, they ran out of all the big names, and then I squeaked in at number 10.
Well, excellent. I am excited to have you. And, we, of course, know each other through your show,
Yeah,
um, Comedy Oakland, which is a really, really fun stand up show. And I've been on your show a few times. And so today it's nice to have you on my show and also in my kitchen. So,
glad to be in both those places.
yes, I am glad to have you. So, yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about your background, which is very interesting, about your stand up comedy, which is very funny, about food, which is part of the show.
Which is
And
very
so
delicious and tasty.
I hope so.
You
I
haven't
mean,
eaten it yet, but I got my 10 and 7-year-old ready to lunch. So, uh,
they
yeah,
are.
I can vouch for my cooking too.
Yeah, yeah. And you have some food to share as well, which is
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
cool.
So when we talked about a week ago, you gave me some ideas for Jewish Indian food, and one of the things that you had mentioned was a dish called Malida. Um,
Yes.
yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Can you talk
Yeah.
about that dish and like what it means and your experience with it?
Yeah, so I don't know if Malida directly correlates to a dish, but it's the ceremony that we use to celebrate every little happy occasion in India in the Jewish community. So if it's like you got good grades in school, celebrate with a Malida. You have a festival, we start with a Malida. It's a New Year, it's a birthday, anything, right? And then the way the Malida went, we used to get 5 fruits. So, and it had to be there's some like categorization of fruit that grows underground, fruit that grows above ground, fruit that is this, fruit that is that. So like 5 fruits were necessary, and then this thing, the delicacy called God Poha, which is sweet flattened rice. Okay, and it used to be so good. It's basically just like flat rice that
Hmm.
you soak in water. You need
Hmm.
shredded grated coconut, and you got those things ready, right? You got
Yeah,
some, you need shredded grated coconut, and then coconut water.
I don't have that.
That's okay.
Uh-oh.
And some sugar.
Have that.
Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's the main ingredients. And then if you wanna give it a little spice it up and make it tasty, not like hot spicy, but like flavorful spicy, we use cardamom powder.
And
So
okay, cool. I got the
yeah,
cardamom seeds, so you'll have to kind of help me with that part.
yeah. So you basically need to take those black seeds out of the cardamom and just ground them really fine powder.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you make it, it looks something like this.
You made it.
I did. So
Oh,
I know I promised you that I'm gonna try and make it. And then I was scampering because I have been in the US for 20 years and never attempted to make this before. And now I'm thinking like, why? Because it's so easy to make and it's so good. And that actually acts as a substitute for rice. So
interesting.
Yeah, so usually we would eat like chicken curry and rice or like goat curry and rice. And then back in India, when I was doing this, uh, the sweet poha thing, the sweet flattened rice, we used to use that as substitute for rice. So now you're getting this sweet taste with some really hot, spicy curry, and you have this sweet and spicy battle in your mouth. It is so good. And so we also made a little drier gravy, not like very gravy and wet, right? So it's drier chicken and lamb. And then here's what that looks like. Ta-da!
Wow.
I
Oh
made
my
some of
God.
that too. And you can see I can lean it over and it's not flowing off, right? Because it's very dry. Uh, Unfortunately, that came out a little hot spicier than I wanted it to. But oh, it's so good. And so
Wow. I
that's what
can't.
we used to eat a lot back there. And I missed it for so long. I called up my mom and I'm like, hey, I gotta make this. Just walk me through how we do it. I know it's pretty simple. And then I made it last night. Had half of it, so good.
Amazing. And now you're making your girls wait to eat it.
So my older one doesn't like sweet at all. She has a sour tooth, so she eats a lot of sour stuff, right?
Okay.
So she tried it like one bite and she's like, no, Daddy, it's sweet. I don't like it. And then the younger one has a sweet tooth, but for some reason she's still not on board with it. So it
Huh.
is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's my first time making it, and it's your first time.
Okay.
It's really your first time making it. I wish we were in the same place
I
and we could
actually
have a contest.
I know that'll be so fun, and then we can eat both, and then you can rejoice mine. And I can't believe I never made this, right? There's a couple other things that we used to do with, there's a lot of coconut-based stuff that we made because we landed on the western shores of India, the coast, and lots of coconut trees. So coconut made its way into the cuisine. And I used to make this green curry. I know I spoke with you briefly about this last time.
Mhm.
So you can take black-eyed peas or you can take chicken, and we make it green instead of red. And traditionally, when you're thinking about Indian food, it's all red and spicy. And this is green, still a little spicy. We don't use the red chili powder. You'll use the raw green chilies and like chop
Mhm.
them as fine as you can. Use coriander, which is like cilantro in America. So that's what gives it the green flavor, and the coconut shredded again, and some garlic, ginger. Lots of mix of spices. It makes it taste so good.
Yes, that sounds delicious. I was not brave enough to try curry for today.
It also takes much longer to make. It's a process, right? So if I briefly walk you through it, the first thing we heat up the oil, and it, for me at least, right, it starts with your cumin seeds that go into the fry, cinnamon stick that goes in for a fry, cloves that go in for a fry, and bay leaves, right? Bay leaves is the closest we can get. In India. We used to get thing called kadi patta. I don't know. Patta is leaf, but I don't know what kadi translates to. But the closest thing is bay leaf. So all of that's getting fried in the oil. Then you chop onions as fine as you can. I go into the chopper, so it's like almost gravy. The onions got to turn golden brown. Yeah, see, everything brown is so much tastier. Golden brown onion. And then comes like turmeric, the red chili powder, coriander, cumin powder, and then there's this magic potion, okay, in Indian food. It's called Garam Masala, which is hot spice.
Yeah, I've seen garam masala in the stores here.
Yes. And Garam Masala is basically nobody can tell you what it is, okay, because it's a mix of like 25 spices. So it's made in a very specific way where a bunch of spices are grounded together, and then the combination gives it a very unique taste, a very unique smell. And you can go from one brand to another and it can change. So
Wow.
yeah, there's no standard recipe for it. All right. So you just put some garam masala and that adds that extra flavor, and you let that fry, making sure it doesn't burn. So you got to keep like mixing and low steam, or in your case low gas. And then comes, like, I made chicken last night. So then I put in the chicken in. And I do this, I think I must have mentioned this to you, right? I clove on like very low heat,
Yeah.
and it takes like 2 hours to make, but it comes out so good. And this tomato paste also, sorry, I forgot that. So like squash tomatoes completely chopped up, that goes in, it fries, and then the chicken goes in. and then the chicken itself will lose some water, so you'll get some gravy there. And then you can add more water if you need. You can put potatoes, and it boils pretty well, adds
Oh,
flavor and stuff. My older one likes potatoes. And then my proof of how good the chicken is, I put these leg pieces, and if I pull the bone out and all the meat falls down, that's my
perfect.
target.
Yeah,
So good.
that sounds amazing, Samson. So last night I went to Devon Street, and I know
Nice.
you've been to Devon, and Devon, of course, is an Indian Pakistani neighborhood. It's also kind of a mix of other cultures in the world. And it was such a pleasant experience and it was so much fun. Every time I go there, I'm just delighted because people are so friendly. I went in a few different
Yep.
stores to get my ingredients, and like the store owners walked me down the aisles and told me about different things. And then I told one of the guys, I was going to make MALIDA and that I needed the poha, and he was talking to me about what it is and showed me all different kinds of coconut. So it was
Yeah.
wonderful. It was, and of
Nice.
course I got food. I got chicken biryani, which was
Ooh,
amazing. The spices were so good.
so
And
good,
I
right?
also got some little like Indian snacks. I thought this was very funny. It's just says delicious mix of Indian snacks on the bag, and it says Mo please. That's
Oh,
like the brand.
I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to see how it is. Yeah.
See, the
Um,
one thing about
yeah.
Indian store owners, and I'm sure with other South Asians as well, they are delighted to see white people walk in. They're like, oh, white people want to try our food. Let me walk you through all the details, just like I ran through the whole recipe right now.
Yeah. Well, Samson, honestly, though, a lot of, especially during the summer when I'm, pretty tan, people always think I'm Indian. So then
Oh,
I had dark
yeah,
hair and I had the
black
mask
hair.
on. Yeah, and I was like, I wonder if they know, if they think I'm Indian, if they think I'm not Indian, who knows? But they knew that I was visiting, and they were
Uh-huh.
very welcoming and warm. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what? I need to do something here. I need to soak this, right?
Yes. So you don't want to soak it for too long. You basically are gonna put some water in it and then get the water out. You just want to wet them, right? So
Okay.
we don't soak
Okay.
for too long like some other grains.
Okay. So right now I am soaking the poha, um, which is the dry rice, the dry flattened rice that Samson talked about. And I'm just gonna leave it in my bowl for a couple minutes. And then I
I
went and I bought a sieve. Do I need
Yes.
this? I
So
need
that's what's
this.
gonna drain the water out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pour it right away. You don't even need to wait
Oh,
for 2 minutes.
really? Okay. The
Yeah.
recipe I have said wait for 4. So no, you're
Oh,
dump it out.
you can wait a minute if you like, if you feel comfortable. But I basically took it, I washed it, and I emptied it out immediately.
Okay.
But you don't have coconut water, right? So maybe let it soak for a couple of minutes.
Oh, whoops. Well,
You'll be fine. You'll be fine either way.
okay, I'm gonna dump it out. And
Yeah,
if it
that
doesn't
works.
taste good, I can blame it on you.
And I'll pass the blame on to my mom.
Exactly. Wonderful. What's your mom's name?
So her post-marriage name is Esther, which is very
Okay.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Her pre-marriage name was Vimla, which is
Okay.
very Hindu.
Yeah.
And
Vimla.
she's from the generation in India, and I'm sure this happened in America also at some point, where when a woman got married, her first name and last name both were changed. And that
Ah,
to me is
really?
insane, right?
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, your entire identity is wiped out. You're now a completely different person. How does that work? And two, you know how hard it is for me to find all my old crushes on Facebook?
Samson. Yeah, everyone's changed their names. It's like witness identity. You
I
know,
know, witness
yeah,
protection.
witness
Yeah.
protection. Thank you. Wait, am I supposed to be? I need to press on top of the sieve a little bit to get the extra water out,
Yeah.
right?
Just get the extra water out. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay,
Uh,
now I'm gonna dump it back. The poha is going back in the bowl, and it is
Okay.
wet, and it
Okay.
feels a little bit, yeah, just a little bit wet and sticky, kind of.
Yep. It will be a little sticky because it was dry and it's the raw poha, but that is fine. You'll see some white residue on your fingers eventually when you mix it all up,
Okay.
but you can lick it away. And so you got the
I'm gonna
poha
try
there.
it. Okay.
Yeah, but
Mm.
right now it's very bland, right? It's just the poha.
Yeah, but I
So
was
you wanna
pretending it was good. Yeah. Yeah.
you wanna do the coconut next. So almost
Okay.
equal portions, right? So if you took like uh, is that matching up to the quantity you had with, is that dry coconut or it is
It's
dry?
dry. So
Okay,
the rest,
we may do
it,
another serving of water on it then.
put a little water. Okay.
So I would
Just
say put it in the poha and then you can put water again and let it soak for a couple more minutes. So that
okay.
way,
All right. So I'm
but
adding the dry shredded coconut to the
okay,
poha, and I'll add a little bit of water,
yeah. And then
but not
I'm assuming you read this recipe online, so you've sort of portioned your sizes accordingly.
correct.
Okay. It might be slightly different than what I did because I almost do like equal portion shredded coconut and equal portion poha.
Oh, yeah, this is very different. This is this is 4 cups poha and half a cup coconut. And
Okay.
and this is crazy. A half cup sugar?
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Wow.
India has the highest rate of diabetes in the world. Welcome
No.
to the club. Yeah. We eat sweet like nobody's business.
I did not know that. That is crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna put the can I put the sugar in now or not yet?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But you want to make sure there's not too much water in it. So with the coconut and the poha, if there's extra water, you can sort of drop it off a little bit.
Okay. It's pretty dry. I mean, I hope it's
Okay,
not too
that's fine.
dry, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm putting in, wow, that is a lot of sugar.
Is that powdered sugar? Is the granular sugar? The
Granulated.
granular
Yeah.
one, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so this is where you let it stay in for a while because you want the sugar to melt,
Okay.
but you do want to mix it all up nice.
All
And
right.
that's what gives it the sweetness. And
Mhm.
when you and you also got the cardamom, right?
I got the cardamom, which smells amazing. I got the
Mm,
green cardamom
that's
in the
okay.
little shell. So
So
I have to do
once you
that.
feel like you've mixed it up pretty well,
Okay.
you start working on the cardamom next.
Okay, I should do that now. So, and
You can
the
clean.
cardamom it smells so good. It smells kind of a little sweet, a little chai like
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of cardamom chai. I use
cardamom
cardamom as a spice in my chai too. So what you would want to do, and you can
chai.
wipe your hands clean before you get to the cardamom again.
Uh-oh.
You
Okay.
peel the green, get the black seeds out, and do you have something to grate it with?
I have a little mortar and pestle disc.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I've never used it. So,
You're like the Indian sadhus now with those little things.
wait, the Indian what?
Oh, sadhus are like saints, the
Sadhu?
Indian saints up in the mountains. They do a lot of these.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay, well, I feel very honored to be included in that group. So I'm just pressing it down on top of the little cardamom pods, kind of like I would with garlic. And I did look this up last night because I knew this would be the hardest part for me anyway. Um, so I'm
You should
trying to
also be able to just open them up. Can you not just
oh,
like,
just open them.
yeah,
Okay, and here's a little black part.
yeah. You want to
It's
get the black in the little bowl, and then the
okay,
green can. Next time you're making some Indian chai, you can put the green in there.
cool.
Although it
Okay,
won't give you much flavor, the green doesn't really have much flavor. It's just a covering for the actual flavorful seeds inside.
I see. Wow. This is a lot of work. People do this regularly, huh?
Well, this is actually the easier cooking part.
Oh.
You're only working with one spice.
Wow. Yeah.
As you're doing that, and as you're gonna start grating the spice, you want to make it as fine powder as you can. So then you spread it over the whole the, the the poha and the coconut thing.
Okay.
I actually think about this back when I was as young as my kids are. I used to see we in India, the women, they had this big stone, right? It's a trapezoidal stone, and then they had this round stone, and they would put all the spices in, and then they would grate it like physically.
Ooh.
So all the ready-made spices that we get now, they should actually make it at home every time they had to cook, and it was such a longer process to cook.
Yeah, I would imagine. And now, I
Yeah,
mean, you can go to the grocery store and get a lot of the spices. I imagine it's better fresh.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
of
When it's
course.
cooked fresh, there's a completely different taste to it. And that's the irony of our lives now, right? Everything is readily available, and yet we have no time. And earlier,
You are
people would
right.
spend half their lives just cooking and eating. Like getting food into your body was the half the purpose of your life, and they would spend
Yeah,
so much time cooking it.
yeah. And what do
And there
we
was
do
no
with that?
refrigeration. You had to go buy fresh, cook, and then make sure it was over, and then go buy the next stock for the next meal.
And yeah, so now that we have all this extra time, what are we doing with it?
Commenting on people's videos on YouTube,
Exactly.
arguing with people on Facebook.
Okay, so now I'm crushing these little hard black cardamom seeds. And
Yeah, you
well,
might want to keep that
I'm
bowl on the counter and like
okay,
really grind it fine. There you go.
I
Put
see.
some work into it, girl.
Okay, I'm trying. This is so hard.
That's the
Samson,
hardest part, definitely. You know
this is
what made it worse for me yesterday? So in Indian stores, you get this thicker sugar. It's like thicker pieces. I can probably pull some and show you. And I had to grind the sugar to powder as well. And my hands were so sore.
oh yeah. I read that this was gonna be really hard, but it actually is hard. And
And you
I'm gonna
will
be
also start smelling the spice as you're cracking it into, yeah,
it smells amazing. It
yeah,
smells
cardamom
delicious.
is really good.
Oh my gosh. Samson, so growing up, um, in some of my research and what you had told me as well, um, there's only 5,000 Jews in India or Indian
Yeah.
Jews. What was that like? Did you know other Indian Jews and how did that impact you?
So I did. The funny thing is, I would think that I know all the Jews there are to know, and yet every year new ones popped up. I'm like, where did this one come from? So 5,000, 5,000 sounds like a small number, but that's still a decently big number that you still don't know everybody. But it is a small, tightly knit community,
Hmm.
and you sort of almost know everybody there is. And yet within those 5,000, you have the ultra orthodox and ultra reform and every slice possible in between, and they're still infighting, right? We did
Yeah.
one New Year's Eve dance party, and the seniors came upon like, you're not supposed to have a dance party on New Year's. It's the period of atonement. You got 10 days of good behavior before you go. Uh, what? Uh, Forgiveness for your sins, Yom Kippur. Like
Hmm.
I didn't know dancing was sin. Like I thought that's the happiest form of expression. What's the problem? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was weird. Like, it's such a small community, and yet everybody has their own way of what's the right way of being Jewish.
Hmm. So
But
your mom converted, is that right?
mhm, that is right. My mom's a Kashmiri Punjabi, which means she's from the northernmost state of India, Kashmir.
Hmm.
And within Hindus, there are different types of Hindus. So one of them is Punjabi, and that's what she is.
Okay. Okay. Huh. That's so interesting. And let's see here. Sorry, I'm making some progress.
Uh,
I think I might need to make more progress on the cardamom front.
to be honest, right now I'm seeing your video slightly blurry, so I can't tell how fine the powder is.
Oh no. Okay. Well, it's getting there. I mean, these were little
I mean,
tiny.
wherever you feel comfortable, right? Because some people are okay even with like biting into the spice, and for people
Okay.
like me, I don't like biting into the spice, so I really ground it to powder. But
Uh-huh.
if it looks powderish to you, that's
Yep.
good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So
And so
now,
what I would suggest, as you're
mhm.
spreading it, right, use your fingers to do the initial spread, because if you go with the bowl, it's
Uh-huh.
gonna drop big amounts somewhere. So just use the fingers to sprinkle it over.
Okay. I am doing that. Yeah,
Sprinkle,
it
sprinkle, let it
smells
start.
so good. Okay.
Yeah. And then once you do that, you want to mix it up again with the rice, the flattened rice and the coconut. Mix it
Mix
up
it all
again.
together. Okay.
Yeah. And
All
you got the
right.
sugar in there already, so it should have the sweetness to it.
Great. Okay. Wonderful.
And then as you're mixing, now when you get a little licky, you can see how sweet it has turned out to be.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. Yeah, I'm very curious, and I have to just taste a little with my fork.
Mm,
Hmm, it's
good,
good. hmm
good,
It's
good.
very sweet. It is sweet,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
the thing.
very good.
It is sweet. Like if you eat it by itself, it's very sweet. Like I'm gonna put a little bit in my own mouth.
How is yours?
Okay. It still it still has there's a dominant taste of coconut because I put like equal parts, but the sweetness has toned down from last night
Ah,
because it's
okay.
absorbed more. Yeah, last night
Mm.
tasted much sweeter.
Well,
So the more the
yeah,
sugar gets absorbed in, the sweetness will come down a little bit, but
okay.
it's supposed to be sweet. It's called sweet flattened rice.
Yes. Okay, so I'm also gonna put in the golden raisins, which I
Oh
got
yeah,
last night. And then I didn't have
my
seven
mom
fruit.
likes those. I don't like those.
Oh, I like those. Yeah.
That's the
Um,
thing, right? With the spices, you can mix up anything you like. So my mom also suggested putting some thin slices of uh, almond and pistachio.
Yep. I got some, well, actually, I got some cashews.
That
I
works
think
too.
pistachios would have been better, but anyway, that's okay. We're gonna go with the
That's the thing, right?
cashews.
You can you have so many, you can pick whatever you like.
Okay. And also I have bananas and oranges. So
Mix it into the poha. That I'm not so sure of
okay.
because that changes it completely. That's the, I mean, again, you've read a recipe online. Everybody has their own recipe. What I did is what I used to eat when I was growing up, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there are others who have. You should look at who the author of the recipe is. I almost feel it won't be a Jewish person if they ask you to put some fruits in it. Because remember, I said
Interesting.
we used to eat 5 fruits, right? So
Yeah.
we would go through like the dates, bananas, apples, oranges, whatever else. We eat those 5 fruits, and then came out this sweet flattened rice as the last thing.
Oh, gotcha. You know,
Yeah,
some people said that they put it in a big, like a ceremonial tray, and then it could be surrounded with the fruits and maybe even flowers for like a
yeah. So
festival.
surrounding, yes. You don't
Oh,
want to
God.
mix it in. You don't want to mix it in. Correct.
Okay. I will keep these separate and I'm
Okay.
going to try it once more with
Okay.
a little bit of banana. And mm, yeah, it's very good and very easy to
All you
make.
all you need is some of this chicken now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So,
Damn. Every time I open that, I'm getting hungrier now.
well, I will let you go at some point, so don't worry. And your
That's
kids
okay.
will be able to eat soon too.
I am
Um
from the third world. I am used to starving long hours. It's okay.
Okay, good. That's what
I
I
forget
like to
who
hear.
has this joke. I think it might be Trevor Noah. I thought I had heard where he goes, in America when people say I'm starving, and he's like, no, you're hungry. You're not starving. You don't know what starving means. You're in America. Shut up, right?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I'm always afraid of being hungry, and that really means like going 2 or 3 hours without food. And yeah,
Exactly. You
yeah.
had breakfast. You're not starving.
No,
That's
exactly.
what even my
Um
kids use the American phrases, right? So they're like, Daddy, we are starving. And I want to always correct, no, you're not. You're just hungry.
yeah. So, Samson, will you talk a little bit about your stand-up comedy and like how long you've been performing and how you got started?
Sure, yeah. So I actually started in 2006, Jan Feb 2006. So it's been 15 years now.
Wow.
And in the beginning, I mean, it started when I came to the US. I came to the US in 2000. Until then, I had not seen stand up as an art form in India. Most of the comedy that happened there used to be mimicking and impressions, like you mimic famous actors or regional accents or international accents. That's what it was. And I was never good at voices. So I was like, okay, this is funny, but it's not for me. And then I came here and I saw stand up, and as to mostly on TV, whatever I saw, like I didn't see a lot, whatever little I saw, it was mostly white comics, some black comics, and that's where it ended. And I like, okay, not for me. And then in 2005, actually before that, one of my friends took me to watch a show live at the San Jose Improv. And this was a comic, Don Macmillan, the PowerPoint comic. So
Okay.
he was
I don't
in
know
tech
her.
sales.
I don't know her.
Him,
Okay.
Don
Oh,
Macmillan.
him, Don. I thought you said
Yeah,
Don. Don.
yeah, Don. Yeah. So he used to work in tech sales, and then he quit that to do stand up full time. And all his humor was related to tech and PowerPoints, and all his comedy was on PowerPoint. You can Google PowerPoint comic, you'll find him. Funny guy. I saw that live first time, and I, God damn, this is hilarious. Like you can actually make fun of anything, and you just go up on stage and tell jokes, and people pay you money. I want to do that, right? So it seemed very endearing, and yet he's a white guy. So I'm like, okay, still not. I haven't seen any that I can relate with directly, and I don't know if I can do this. And then 2005, Russell Peters
Hmm.
blew the roof off, right? Because his video was like circulating on the net like crazy, and he became an overnight sensation. And I watched that video, and for the first time, I was like, oh, there's an Indian comedian, and that hilarious, and like that's a possibility, right? And that's where I all this movement that's happening now, representation matters. You go to Netflix, there are like various categories that you wouldn't have had before. And I see why, right? It does help to see something that you can directly correlate to, like, oh, that's a version of me. And so that's when I decided to jump into stand up after watching his clip. And the first initial idea was just like, yeah, okay, I'll do it for fun. And then I started getting booked private gigs and stuff. And I like, damn, there's like money coming in, better take this serious. And then 2 3 years down the road, I had to make a quick decision between not even 3 years, like probably a 2 year mark. Because most of comedy, when you come out initially, you tend to be more filthy mouth, right? And I had that too. Because that's the nature of comedy. We are rebellious by nature. We say things that people don't want us to say, right? Everything that's prohibited in the normal world is gold in comedy. So I had a foul mouth too, but I had to decide if I wanted to stay blue or if I wanted to go clean. And everything that I'd heard from people, clean comedy is harder, it's more widely accepted. Uh, I decided to go the clean route as well. And there were enough people who also told me, like, the foul mouthness doesn't suit you on stage. Like, your humor is a little more intellectual, so you're diminishing your effectivity. And so that's where I went the clean route
Yeah.
and been doing it for 15 years now. It's been fun. It's the best thing
Wow.
I could have done in my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can't imagine you talking about think about like dirty things on stage. It's just I've never even heard I don't even think I've heard that from you before.
So, the start usually is you hear other people and then you try to tell your version of the same joke. You're not
Hmm.
really that original in the beginning, right? You may have some basic originality from your life, but a lot of the jokes, I feel at least, most comics who are starting out regurgitate what they're hearing in their own ways, in their own version of it. It's really when you start discovering like what is it that really bothers and matters to you, and the voice that you need to start talking about things that are like real to you. And by the time I got there, I had decided to work clean already. So even when I get angry and I have a lot of sarcasm, I still keep it clean. And you know what's interesting is this, right? I remember this one particular instance because I was talking about how there was a drunk woman at a club yelling out things, and how I countered it, right? And I have a joke about this whole narrating about how that whole incident walked through. And at the end of the show, and this was at Cobb's in San Francisco. At the end of
Mhm.
the show, there were two women who walked up to me and they said, "You know, we really appreciate you not using the word bitch in that entire conversation that you had with her." And I was like, "Oh man, like people are really thoughtful and sensitive to words, and words do matter." And I had not consciously chosen to not say the word,
Mhm.
but the fact that it's such a common thing to use for a lot of comics that I could have used it as well without realizing that I'm actually being offensive. But those little moments, right? They stuck with me, and so I am very aware of the words I use. And even today, sometimes when I'm working on a new joke, it's loosely structured, right? So then I'm like, okay, this is where all my rules break, right? I'm just gonna blurt out whatever comes to my mind. So there'll be bad words that come out of my mouth, and that's fine. And it's not a lot of bad words that come out, but sometimes the F bomb slips through more easily than anything else. But then as the joke takes shapes and develops, I clean it up, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the final delivery is always clean.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a placeholder, you know, for describing something more precisely. But what did you say to the woman instead of using the B word?
No, I just kept saying like this woman kept interrupting me, and I said to the woman, and then the woman said this, and I said, and I was just the woman, right? The phrase I used was woman,
Gotcha.
and
Mhm.
the fact that she actually somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, we really appreciate you not using the word," and I like, yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it's because I remember using bitch very easily before I got into
Mhm.
stand up. Because I didn't think it really, I thought it was like funny to say the word, you know what I mean? Because it was
Oh
like
yeah.
some people don't like it, they get annoyed, so I'm gonna say it more. And as comedians, you want to say things that annoy people sometimes. I don't know, it's in our DNA. And it's funny that I got into comedy and all the words I used to use before have disappeared from my vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have a great delivery on stage. You have like a very natural, easy way. You have hilarious stories. I love, there's a story that you tell about riding in the car with your wife and how you guys like the car at different temperatures.
That
And so,
also, right? That
is,
literally the joke happened. I was about to go up to host and I was talking to a comic in the back. And I just said this to him, and I like, oh, I think I have a new joke. And I went up and I was like, I'm gonna try this right now. But yeah, and it correlates with everybody who's been married for a long time because it
yeah,
literally is you are willing to put yourself through some discomfort just to make sure the other person isn't comfortable either.
right. So, like, if she likes it super hot and you like it
He likes
much
it above
cooler,
75. I like it below 71. So we put the temperature at 73. So we are both miserable. That's the happy marriage.
I love that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
It,
one joke, right? Where the follow up to the joke, the last tag I have is, hey, if I can't be happy, and then I say, fuck you too. And this is no other way to say it, right? I've tried every possible, like, hey, if I can't be happy, neither can you. If I can't be happy, you're gonna be unhappy too. Like everything else I say is diluted. You
Mhm.
have to fuck you too, right? That has to come. And I've said it in a synagogue, right? It's like, look, my entire 44 and a half minutes is clean. I can get away with one,
I
right? And
totally
people are like,
agree.
because
Yeah.
it just that just like expresses the emotion, like there's just no better substitute for that phrase at that point. So that's one joke that I have not been able to clean up. I won't be able to do it on TV, but maybe they can bleep it out if I ever get on TV someday.
Which I'm sure you will. Yes.
Well,
After your
we'll see.
debut on my podcast, Samson, you're gonna you're gonna make it.
You know, one
This
of
is
the
gonna be
writers for Poland actually loved that joke. I had done a show, and that person came up to me like, "That's one of the best jokes I've heard." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Can I get a spot and quote?" I didn't say that, but I'm saying like, can I just come and do like one joke?
Oh my God. No, it's hilarious. It's so great. I have enjoyed being on your show every time. I really hope that it will be up and running again. If not at the same location, maybe at somewhere else in Oakland.
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Yeah,
When do things open up again? Where do we go back again? We'll see. Right now,
yeah,
I'm just being tight.
totally. And right now you're growing your hair out. You're doing cooking.
Hey, quick question. What are you gonna eat that sweet rice with? Just by
What
itself?
am I going to eat it with? Yeah, I'm going to eat it by itself, probably with some bananas and the oranges. But like, I mean, I have the chicken biryani, so I feel kind of
You could
set
take the chicken
that
out of
way.
the biryani and eat the chicken with this.
Ooh, okay. Try the balance with the sweet and the
Yeah,
spicy. Okay.
yeah. More
All
often
right.
than not, in the Malida ceremony that we had in India, we would bring out the rice poha, the sweet rice, and then it used to be goat curry, dry goat
Mm,
curry. So
okay.
the chicken biryani chicken still gonna be very very dry, but run back to Devon Street, get some goat masala, achari chicken.
Okay, I will. I have more exploring to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be next. Well, Samson, I feel like we should wrap up in a minute because I know your girls are starving and I know you're
They come from a third world family. They'll survive.
Oh
They
my
have it
God.
in their DNA.
Actually, you know what? Before we go, I just had also one other question. Like, what does your wife think of your stand up? And what did she think when you first started doing it, if you were married then?
So we actually met when I was just about starting in stand up. So we met in the first quarter of 2006, and I had started doing stand up at the beginning of 2006, right? So it was just about the same time. And at the time, I actually used to teach in a Bollywood dance group. I was a part of a
No
Bollywood dance.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did that from 2002 to 2006.
Oh my
And
God.
so here's another fun fact. She was my student for the quarter.
No, that is so scandalous.
I know, which is why that whole quarter I held off. And then the second quarter, she shifted to a different location. And I was like, okay, officially not my student now, right? So that's when I asked her out. So when we met, she knew me as a dancer. She didn't know me as a comedian. But 2006 was the year where the dancing went down and the comedy took off.
Ah,
And by the end of 2006, I had quit dancing completely. It was all about comedy.
wow.
And so she wasn't happy me quitting dancing. She liked me as a dancer. But then I was a comedian, so she was like, okay, whatever. She only had one rule: you don't talk about me on stage. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. There's enough things in my life to talk about besides you. So, okay. And that rule stayed intact for a few years. After
Hmm.
which, I think it's after we had our kid and we moved from San Francisco City to Fremont that
Hmm.
our life sort of pivoted quite a bit. And it got to a point where I had a 1 hour special about trapped in a family. It's all about my wife and me and how the skirmishes of marriage. And she had no idea that I had built up an hour of material about her. And a lot of my friends and like people at the shows be like, "What does your wife think about it?" And I'm like, "She doesn't even know, right?"
What?
And
Oh my
if
God.
anything, I would tell her like, if you stop doing silly things, I would have nothing to talk about. But
And then and
it's
then
it's
did she hear it? Did she hear all the material or no?
did hear a good portion of it when I did my first Marathi show. So Marathi is my mother tongue from the state
Oh,
that I'm from, right? So India, 26 languages. One of the languages is Marathi. And I, in 2019, decided to do a show in Marathi. And I was like, why not? I've seen comics in Hindi, I've seen comics in Punjabi, there are comics in Spanish and every other language in the world. Why not Marathi? And in the US, there is still a significant Marathi speaking population of Indians. And so I'm like,
mhm.
okay, I'm going to attempt this. And if I get like 100 people, that's more than enough. And then the first show, there was like close to 200 that showed up. It was
Wow.
insane. Not 200, maybe
Awesome.
like 160, 170. You know what I mean? Like 200-ish. And
Yeah.
it was the one of the best shows I've done in the 15 years that I've done, like probably in the top three. it was so good because I didn't know what to expect and they didn't know what to expect, and it went really well. And my wife came to that show because she's like, wait, this guy's gonna do, and she's the pure Marathi speaker. Okay, she's from the city of Pune, which is like the headquarters of Marathi, and I'm from Bombay, so my Marathi is very polluted. It's it's not the pure language, and so like, I want to see what this guy does in Marathi. And so she heard half my set was all about my marriage life and everything, right? So that's where she actually heard it the first time.
Wow. Was she upset or no? She was probably laughing, I'm guessing, but
I wasn't paying attention.
oh,
We've
yeah.
been married long enough that I ignore her all the time now.
Oh yeah, that's a healthy marriage too. Yeah.
She sat in the last row all the way in the back. Like I saw, caught a glimpse of her, like, oh, okay, she's in. And then I was just doing what I was doing and working with the front crowd.
Oh my gosh,
I
I
actually
love
have
it.
a video of it on my channel on YouTube. I have one clip from the first show, and I'm about to post a clip from my second show as well, the second Marathi show.
Oh man, I love it. Well, Samson, I have so enjoyed talking to you. I want to say that next time you're in Chicago, we should explore together. We should go to Devon, and you should be
Next time
on my
you're in the Bay
showcase.
Area, come
Yeah.
over. I'll cook. We'll eat again.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Um, I would love that. And seriously, I would love that. I probably, well, who knows when that'll be. But you're always welcome here in Chicago, and I want to have you on my showcase
Okay.
next time you're here. And that would be
I will
so much
definitely let you know.
fun. Okay. And this has been wonderful. Thank you for your time and your expertise. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
barely. You got the recipe online. You did it all yourself. I was just here like mansplaining how to cook Indian food.
Of course, of course. Mansplaining all the way. That's what you do, Samson. Um, and I want to say thank you to you and thank you to Lincoln Lodge and Christine Ferreira, who is fabulous. And that is it. I can't wait to see you all next time on Hot Dish. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye bye.